I'll do a really quick rundown of the Wiz suite of scripts that I've developed over the past years. A lot of it has to do with automation and creating variants of models and being able to randomize and create useful variants of characters and components. But there's actually a lot of different areas that I went in and did some UI development for creating more useful and more efficient things like connecting attributes. Like I have a select an attribute master, which you can create all kinds of sets of objects and connect them automatically based on sets of rules. It's kind of difficult to go into detail into how all of this works within a brief period, because it's kind of dense, but there's a whole number of different ways that you can select polygons and create sets based on I mean it's kind of expandable, whereas you can create different sets and combine different sets based on different criteria. And let's see, another some simple features that I made for this suite of automation scripts are just export sets. I just made my own way to kind of create sets that you can populate, so you can get consistent exports if you need to export a file multiple times and you're not sure which objects were selected, or it was really designed to work in tandem with the randomization scripts, so you can randomize a character, export all the pieces as individual meshes, or however you want to export them, and then clean the scene up and start over again. There's also a whole suite of renaming functions that I use all the time, just because it's a whole lot more efficient than I think some of the renaming scripts that I've used over the years, where it has a library of quick names, and whenever you name something, it automatically adds the node suffix, and there's some options to make combo names, and you can pull names from the scenes by stripping out namespaces, and then as you rename things, it creates a library of names. So if you need to go back and name some other objects the same thing over and over, you can go back into your library of names that you've previously used, and there's different options to replace automatically. It's just a little bit more adding on to some of the functionality that there is in some of the renaming functions, but it does it with a little bit more little bit more ease and flexibility. What else is there? So there's also a whole bunch of scripts for randomizing things like transforms in various increments, and creating attributes that are designed for creating variants for those transforms. And some different sections for processing models from different software packages, using some common processes that you might need to get a model prepared for exporting. There is some, let's see, functions for dealing with planetary terrain. I know I've dealt with a lot of software packages like Vue where you kind of have to clean some of the stuff up that you export. I've written some Python files to deal with exporting tiles from Vue because it's not really something that's designed in the software. And some of that has to be post-processed to blend the tiles together. So there's a lot of different options for dealing with normals and deleting edges and that kind of stuff. Let's see. There's a snow buildup section that I wrote really quick where it mostly just bulges up faces that are facing upward. Let's see, a scale. This is one that I use quite a bit. Just conform scales very easily, so you can select whatever size you want the object to be in whatever unit of measurement, and it'll conform all the objects that you select into whatever scale that you want. It's a little bit, I find it a little bit more intuitive than most ways, where I just know the size that I want it, and whatever the scene scale is, it just automatically, it'll just scale it to what the exact needed size. Some functions for rebuilding meshes when they have topology that's just out of control with and clean up polygons fails. There's a number of issues that causes cleanup polygons to fail that you can bypass with recreating the mesh triangle by triangle. Let's see. This splits meshes into cubic areas. I did this to build asteroids of large scale with a lot of detail. So I could split them into nice, clean chunks, kind of like voxel chunks, but very cleanly. What else do I have here? Some stuff we're dealing with view objects. There's a lot of, that's kind of getting old. I don't know how many people use Vue anymore. I've built a lot of scripts for building suns, and because a lot of what I was doing when I was working on a project to build a sun was making triangular pieces of the surface so I could populate a geodesic dome with it, but all those tiles had to be aligned properly. So some of them, I wrote a bunch of scripts to populate the sun with these triangular shaped fluid fields. There's a lot of functions that I designed for creating those triangular fluid fields, doing fall off and um, deleting or emptying voxel areas of different sizes without having to use different sorts of emitters to delete them. It just does it geometrically. A lot of different functions for fluids and dealing with caches. I know I find some of the functions for creating caches a bit lacking in some areas, so I did make some helper functions for dealing with caches. Let's see, another one that I use quite a bit sometimes, creating kind of randomization variants of objects, is just this color section here. I need a better name for it, but it'll make color palettes that then it'll automatically build like a node network to create selectors and make a nice little interface for doing color selections that are customizable. Like, it'll give you a whole set of colors, and you can just choose from each set of color and have it be applied to whatever character piece or whatever piece that you're applying it to. Kind of like a color remapping. Another one that I often use is this repeater, serialized repeater, where it's just more of a, you can make lists of objects and then do a repeat function based on some different criteria for doing A then B, or A then B2, A B3, or A1, B1, A2, B2, and so on. I use that quite a bit. You can do things more efficiently if you use something like this. And a whole list of animation expression helpers, and also a bookmark or a library set of GUI that you can populate these lists with files, and then it'll pull up the thumbnails, and you can add the files from the directories and you can import any that has functions for finding and importing files that have the same name or some, according to some other criteria. Like, it'll find a file in that directory or subdirectory with the same name that is an OBJ, and something for bulk replacing references. It'll replace references that are associated with files. Really a whole lot of functions. I'll stop with that for now. I could go on for quite a while about the different features that I have in this Wiz set of scripts.